I recently placed a pre-order for a Pyxis 12K and I'm patiently waiting for it to be fulfilled. But one piece of feedback I keep hearing online is how bad the rolling shutter is going to be. I want this camera for its open gate capabilities and its dynamic range. I'm probably going to be only shooting in 4K or maybe 8K. According to this chart, 12.51 milliseconds for 8K open gate is acceptable for me for general use. 11.61 at 16:9 is probably where I would be shooting most of the time if I'm not shooting open gate. If I'm spending thousands of dollars on a camera, how bad is the rolling shutter going to be at 12K? Well, because I still have a Pyxis on loan, I was able to do that test since the Pyxis 6K's rolling shutter is technically even worse than the 12K's. The 6K open gate comes in at 25 milliseconds, while the 12K is about 24 milliseconds. I don't think my eyes would be able to tell the difference, but I would be able to notice that slow of a sensor readout speed if I'm filming things that are moving around quickly. This whole video was shot in 6K open gate. I typically do not shoot projects like this, but this video was for a nonprofit that needed to be delivered horizontally for YouTube and vertically for Instagram. I let them know ahead of time. They're like, what is rolling shutter? We don't care. So I figured this would be a great project to try it out on.
Hey Noel, can you stunt double for me? You do my interview for me? I already botched it. Today we're giving away 30 skateboards, 30 helmets to 30 kids, followed by some lessons and a skate demonstration. Over the past 40 years, I've been introduced to so many amazing people and seen so many amazing places, and I am overjoyed to bring that to the next generation of skaters here today.
All right, ready? Bend those knees. There you go, you got it. That's it, that's it. Woo! Yeah, there you go. Okay, hi guys, all my people that are skateboarding with us today. Who's got a new skateboard? Woo! Awesome. So me, my friend Franny, and my friend Ryan are gonna be showing everybody foot position, how to push, all the basics of skateboarding so that everyone will be able to ride around this park today. We're gonna split up in different areas. Kind of work on your board and making sure your board feels good, and then also where your feet are.
This project is teaching kids how to skate, and kids skating moving all over the place. I thought this would be a great test for whipping the camera all over the place and seeing that rolling shutter. I tend to shoot skateboarding pretty wide, so the skaters I know that I could trust to not hit my camera, I was shooting with the Vespid 12mm. For general clips with the counselors and the kids, I was using about 35, 50, and 125 very briefly. We'll look at that test footage, but I did notice something. When I was shooting wide with a wide focal length, and I was even moving really quickly, I wasn't able to see much of a rolling shutter issue. This is something that I always thought, but I never did the test myself. So I'm glad to be exposing that with these tests. Moving to the 35mm footage, I also wasn't able to see much of a shutter issue here. Granted, I wasn't whipping the camera around very much, but you can start to notice it in the in-between shots where I left the camera rolling and I would be walking around, moving it like this, like whipping the camera around. So I was able to notice it a little bit then, but at that point, I'm whipping the frame around, so I don't think the average person would be able to tell here. Going up to the 75 and 125, this is where I was able to notice the rolling shutter, even if you're not looking for it, in my opinion. These tighter focal lengths definitely show the issues at a little more noticeable of a scale. Before we get into tests at the office, I'd like to thank today's video sponsor, Artlist. Artlist has over 400,000 high-quality assets available to use in your personal and commercial work. Artlist also has some new AI image and video generation tools. With their new tools, you can create an image, upload an image and transform it, or turn an image into a video with prompts. Artlist makes it very simple to create high-quality images and videos. I find myself using AI in pre-production to get my ideas across quickly to clients, but if you like to use AI in your final deliverables, the Artlist license covers the AI images and videos for personal and commercial use. When it comes to music, their tools make it easy to find the exact song you need. Their filters make it easy to choose a genre, then refine your results with mood keywords. You can narrow it down even further by which instruments are used. If you want vocals or not, or even adjust the BPM. They also have tons of playlists to help give you some inspiration from different creators, moods, or types of videos. They also have a huge selection of LUTs, footage, and tools from your favorite editors to help speed up your edits. If you'd like to check it out, Artlist is offering 2 free months if you use the link in my description. Artlist has over 400,000 assets available and more are being added constantly, so be sure to find exactly what you're looking for. Thank you, Artlist, for sponsoring this video. Editor Keith here, and I was going through the footage, and it's actually kind of difficult to see the difference between the 12, the 21, 35, and 75. Let's run through all these focal lengths with the Pyxis 6K, and we'll do that in 6K open gate. And then after that, we'll do the same test with the FX6 and then with the Komodo, just to see how those sensors react very differently than the Pyxis. Also, sorry for my 100-year-old creaky floors. Pyxis 6K 12mm, and I'm noticing the distortion way more than I'm noticing anything else. Again, this is kind of a small space in my office, so the distortion's pretty wild, but I'm just looking at that tube light there. Let me turn this on. This is probably really annoying now, but also to help illustrate. Again, my camera is level. There's just so much distortion with this lens, it looks off. Pyxis 6K 21mm, and I'm not really noticing that much. This is faster than I would ever move the camera right here. 35mm in the Pyxis 6K, this is where I'm starting to see a little bit of jello introduced. When I'm panning, it's not that bad, but if you look at that silver stand right there and you start to go back and forth, this is where I see some jello. And I noticed this when I was filming handheld. I had to be really careful not to go back and forth like this, because that's when you start to distort the image. I'm on a tripod here, so I would use it about, at least at 1. So when I pan, I would stop when I'm panning onto a subject, and I would stop there. So it's really not that big of a deal if you're on sticks. But if you're filming handheld and you're going back and forth like that, that's really tough to overcome. So that's one thing that I found out when I was using this, filming that skateboarding thing, but it really didn't translate to the camera that well. So I hope this helps illustrate that. Now let's throw on the 75. Okay, 75mm, and this is where I ran into some problems. If I was filming handheld and I was moving the camera back and forth just a little bit, I'm barely moving the camera, but you can really start to notice these lines moving up and down, and it just looks really distracting. And I think this is the point where anyone that is, a normal person watching something, this is where they're going to start to notice like something is off, but like maybe they don't know why. So I think 75mm on open gate, if you're moving the camera around, is something that I would probably stay away from. I'm really interested to see how the FX6 looks with this rolling shutter on the 75. 4K 16:9 on the Pyxis, and we're windowing the sensor, so the sensor readout speed is faster here, but I'm not noticing nearly as much rolling shutter. If I do the handheld kind of test going back and forth here, I can definitely notice some rolling shutter, but it's not nearly as bad as the open gate was. Sony FX6 12mm. Sony FX6 21mm. Sony FX6 35mm. FX6 75mm Vespid, and I feel like I'm noticing a little bit of rolling shutter here too. It's not enough for like a normal person to probably pick it up, but if you're looking for it, you can see it. At least I think I can see it on the back of the camera here. OG Komodo 12mm Vespid 6K 16:9, and unsurprisingly, I'm not noticing any rolling shutter here, even if I'm moving the camera pretty quick. OG Komodo 21mm, and again, not noticing any rolling shutter issues here. Vespid 35mm OG Komodo. 75mm on the red Komodo OG. Some miscellaneous things here. The scratch mic on the Pyxis absolutely sucks. Like, this is the worst on-camera mic I've ever heard. I've heard DSLRs with better on-camera microphones than this one.
All right, we would like to thank the Erie County Community Foundation.
I definitely need to figure out an on-camera solution for this, preferably one that turns on whenever I turn on the camera. I think the new Sennheiser mic does that. Maybe there's a Deity mic that does that. If you know of any good microphone recommendations that are not XLR, like I can use my 416 on this, but if I just want to use like a quick, if I'm filming skating, I don't need a Sennheiser mic. I don't need an XLR Sennheiser mic. If you know anything that can just plug with like the 3.5mm into the camera, please let me know, because I'm definitely looking for one. It's easier to hide the open gate rolling shutter at wider focal lengths, but if you're filming something fast moving and you can't get around it, windowing down the sensor can help. When I get my Pyxis 12K in, I'll be doing a ton of tests on it, so be sure to like this video to show YouTube that you like Pyxis 12K content. Hopefully it'll be recommended to you in the future. I don't know if that's how that works, but we'll try it. And subscribe to manually find your way back in the future, the good old-fashioned way. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.